In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the built-in functions in Excel. The ones we're going to look at, Excel's got lots of built-in functions. The ones we're going to look at, though, are the ones that appear on the Home tab, way over here in the Editing group, and they're all on this button here labeled AutoSum. And if you click on the down arrow, you'll see that there's 5 functions here: a sum, an average, count numbers, max, and min. And they're here just because they're real commonly used functions. So we're going to take a look at them. They all work on ranges of numbers, so we need a range of numbers before we can do anything. So let's just type a few numbers in here. And we will use Excel's autofill feature to give us a list of numbers. Okay. And now let's try the sum function. Let's go over here and click on sum. And whenever you do the sum function, if you do it at the bottom of a column of numbers, it assumes that you want to sum all of the numbers in the column. So it's automatically assuming here that I want A1 to A20. The colon here between the A1 and the A20 means everything in between. That's the way Excel represents what it calls a range. And there's a dancing line around those numbers so that you can visually verify that it's selecting the numbers that you want. And if those are the numbers you want, then just go ahead and hit the Enter key, and it'll give you the sum. And if I go up here and change the 9 to a 19, it should add 10 more onto my answer. It automatically updates just like all formulas do in Excel. Okay, I'm going to undo that with Control-Z, change it back to a 9. And that's how the sum function works. Now I'm going to delete that. Just hit the delete key. And I'm going to go in here and delete the number 10. Okay? And then I'm going to put the cursor down here in cell A21 again. And we're going to try doing AutoSum again. Now, if there's a gap anywhere in the column of numbers and you want to include everything on both sides of that gap, Excel stops when it gets to the first cell that doesn't have a number in it. So it assumes we just want to add these. Now, if we want to add more than that, you could go down here and just change the A11 to an A1. But I think it's easier. Just take your cursor and drag it over the cells that you want. And now we've got A1 to A20, and it's including all of the numbers for us that we wanted. And just hit Enter, and it tells us the sum of those numbers is 200. Okay, I'm going to go back and put the 10 back in, and hit Enter. And now let's take a look at some of the other functions. We've also got an average function. Okay. And I'm going to put these up here. I'm going to leave the sum down here, and I'm going to put average up here in cell C1. Now, it's looking for numbers, and there's obviously no numbers above it, so it looks to the left to see if there's some numbers over there that it should be averaging, and it's guessing wrong. So what I have to do is I have to correct it, and I have to just take my mouse and grab it and drag it from A1 down to A20. I don't want to include the 210 there. And then when I've got the correct numbers highlighted, then all I have to do is hit the Enter key, and it tells me that the average of those numbers is 10.5. Another function is the count function. There's 2 versions of count. Actually, there's several versions of count. The plain old count function by itself is used to count how many cells in the range have numbers in them. And because I put this underneath the 10.5, it assumes that I want to count that. It's doing the same thing. It assumes you're going to put this right at the bottom of a column of numbers or at the end of a row of numbers that you want to find the count of, but that's not the case this time. So we're going to take the mouse again and drag it over here. And our range now is A1 colon A20. And since there's a number in every one of those cells, and there's 20 cells, I should get the number 20 here when I hit the Enter key. And I do. Now, if I go to one of these cells and delete it, now there are only 19 numbers in the range. Let's put the 4 back in. And if I go to that cell and just put some text there instead and hit Enter, there's only 19 numbers in the range. Let's do Control-Z and put the 5 back in. So it counts how many cells in the range have numbers in them. Okay, let's go to this cell. And the next function on our list here is the max function, and that's short for maximum. And it'll give you the largest number in a range of cells. And again, it's not selecting the numbers I want, so I just go over here and I drag the mouse over those numbers and hit Enter. And the maximum number in that list is 20. And if I go here and change something, it'll automatically update the max for me too. Okay. And the last one we're going to do is the min function. Let's go over here and click on the button and choose min. And again, we have to correct it, tell it that this is the range of numbers we want to find the minimum of, and hit the enter key, and it'll tell us that the smallest number on the list is 1. If I go in here and put 0.5, then it automatically corrects that. And let's put it back the way it was before. So those functions are on the Home tab simply because they're probably the 5 most commonly used functions in Excel. So they're real handy, and they're real easy to use, and they're all right there on the Home tab for you.